so we are. That's where it's coming on. Here.
There we go.
All kinds of people are coming. I'm going to go check on Tim and I'll be right back.
Okay.
I can hear you really good, Deborah.
Good. Hi, Jason.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, Jason.
Hey, how are you?
Not too bad.
Good.
How's this working out for you?
Yeah, it works. Rather be in person, but that's how it goes. So roll with it.
Yeah. All we can do is the best that we can with what we have.
Definitely.
So how's your mother? God, I haven't seen her in forever.
Well, she's doing good. She's still at MCI.
I figured she would have retired by now.
Oh, she's getting closer, but not there yet.
Well, tell her I said hi.
I will do that.
Caleb, how are you?
Good. How are you doing, Deborah?
I'm doing okay.
Yep.
Hanging in there.
This is things got crazier since I left with the COVID and everything going on. Jeez.
I know. Eventually, I mean, I think this is the wave of the future.
Yeah. One challenge after another.
That's what keeps us on our toes.
Yep.
I don't know why. Ah, there we go.
How long have the meetings been, Zoom meetings?
I think there were 2 before this one.
Hi.
We had Zoom since last June, but not total Zoom. It was a hybrid meeting, which was difficult because you had Zoom and town hall streams, and you had to run them, and you couldn't hear or see everything on either version.
Yeah.
So it was recommended by many people we go over to this because the hybrid meetings are hard to manage. And so far we hadn't goofed up one of ours, but in Southern Maine, there have been a lot of problems.
Really?
So Kathy, this is the reason why I had to leave the town council meeting right in the middle of the meeting, right here.
Oh my,
She's gotten a little bit bigger.
it's huge. Yes.
Say hi.
How old is she? How old?
She's coming up on 3 in March. So.
Keep you on your toes.
Yep. Who's that? That's Deborah. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
So Catherine, Pete cannot get on with that other computer. So I'm gonna pass him my computer and join with my phone. Hopefully my battery lasts out here. So I'm gonna pass it to him. I renamed my computer and then I'll rejoin here in just a minute.
That's right. You're now Pete. Logic guys. That's right.
So Heather, on your phone, are you gonna be able, can we see you?
Yeah, I can do video on my phone.
Okay, good, because otherwise you can't vote.
Yeah, I'll be on my phone and you'll be able to see me.
Okay,
And that ruling is the town attorney, which follows the states, but MMA legal says you can vote. So it's differences of legal opinions there.
so which opinion are we gonna go with?
Well, we're stuck with the town attorneys now because that's what we said we'd use.
And that is,
That you have to
we
see
have to be,
the scene.
we have to be seen, okay.
All right.
Hi, Tim. Tim is now the CEO. He's not, he's mute.
Here.
Yeah, so
And
your name there. I
this
can.
is everybody that's on right now.
Let's see.
Tim needs to unmute himself.
So
I'm
I
gonna
don't really need to see everybody.
read.
So this is you.
Hi, Pete.
Hey,
If you're muted,
Okay. I changed his name, so that's good. I can't
Peter,
unmute.
Peter is not, yeah, they need to unmute their
and you don't
computers.
have anybody else around you. And then you don't have to worry about,
And Tim is looking for it.
you should
You
be all
should-
set. And then if you want to say something, I'll be watching and just raise your hand. There is an electronic raise your hand, but it's easier just to wave a hand and say hi.
okay.
All right, I'm gonna go join.
Tim, you need to click on the microphone. I don't think he knows where, it should be on the bottom of your screen. And he's saying no.
I'll come in. It's on the left-hand bottom. I'll be right in.
Okay,
Tim, if you hover over your face with your mouse, you should see an unmute or mute up in the right. You can click
Mute.
that. There you go.
oh, there you go.
And
Am I
then
muted now?
now you're unmuted.
Now we can
hear you.
hear you.
Yeah, now my screen's telling me I'm muted, so there you go.
Oh, it is?
Well, you're
Yeah, but
not.
hey, if I'm not, that's good.
And if you're in a closed room, you can take your mask off.
Well, when you hover over it, now that it says mute, you can re-click on that and it will mute you again. That's how you can toggle back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I muted now? Am I okay now?
You're good.
Okay, we'll leave it right there.
Yeah.
Heather, you're sideways.
Head of you sideways.
Boy, Tim, I would have loved to have had a mute button for you back. when
There we
jumped up.
go.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
unmute.
This thing, Caleb says I'm a CEO. That's a scary thought right there.
Now I can get some permits.
Yeah, yeah. Not a big battle, yeah.
Okay, Caleb is muted. Shouldn't we all be unmuted? Heather's muted.
I mute so the background noise doesn't interfere with who's talking.
I'm muted again? No, there we go.
No, keep it
No, I'm all good. Okay.
unless it starts making some noises, and it shouldn't because we're on the town line streams, which is the good thing about that, because on regular Zoom, it's noise everywhere. You just not hear.
There you go, Heather.
I just had trying to figure out a way to get my phone to prop up here. It's
Oh, you did really good. And you have the flat.
over there. I'm trying to figure out how to get it so I can see everybody because
You
meetings.
have a much smaller screen.
Yeah, so I can't see if people are trying to talk. Show meeting controls. Closed captioning.
I don't think I can do anything here because gallery shows all of you in the side. The speaker makes just, it dances back and forth between the people talking. So I don't think we want.
Now I can see everybody and the screen doesn't move around when they talk. So is that only for you, Catherine?
Oh, that's good. Keep on that one. You're on gallery. If you go on speaker, that's what happens. It moves all around.
Oh,
Remember when we tested it out?
right, okay. Okay, are we all,
Can you see us all, Heather?
No, I can see people when they talk.
Oh, up in your upper right corner, there should be a little thing and you can change it from, and it should say view, and you click that and then change from speaker to gallery. It might be different for you where you're on your phone though.
Yeah, I don't get, if I go into meeting settings, oh, always show meeting controls. I can't do that because it's not my meeting.
Mhm.
Show non-video participants, self-view connected. I don't think it's gonna let me because it's such a small screen. But I will just listen intently for your intents, I guess.
Okay.
All right. I don't know where any of my stuff is now. All right. So we have everybody on here now. If I go back to this, we've got me, Catherine, Tim, Deb, Pete. Hi, Caleb, Jason, and Pete is in there. Who's in the assessor office?
Me. Tim,
Yeah, you're in.
You're in the
You're in the CEO's office.
CEO's office. Who I don't know who's in the assessor's office. That I don't know.
Testing out the assessor's one.
Oh, testing it to see if it works with that one. So that'll give us another option for the next meeting, maybe. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So this is a regular meeting of the Pittsfield Town Council, February 16th. And we are by video teleconferencing. First item is to open the meeting with Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. So we're going to go ahead and do a pledge. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see the flag, our mobile flag here.
Do we have to stand? Do we have to stand?
No.
Okay, that
Go
sounds
ahead.
good.
I pledge allegiance.
Allegiance
To the
to the
flag
flag
of the
United
United
States
States
of
of
America
America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty,
with
liberty
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. And then we'll have a brief moment of silence. Thank you. And we'll move on to adoption of minutes, our regular town meeting, our regular council meeting that was held on January 19th, as well as the workshop and regular meeting held on February 2nd, 2021. Counselors, I'll look for a motion and discussion on this.
Move we adopt the minutes from January 19th meeting, February 2nd workshop, and February 2nd meeting.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion, changes?
I would like the January 19th says that I was absent, and I was not absent. I was there up until Catherine finished talking about freedom of access, and then I left.
Yeah, I think that was the January 5th meeting.
It's in the minutes of the 19th.
Well, I was,
Catherine. Oh no, Deb, you missed the following meeting. I think that was the
yeah, I missed the first meeting in February.
Yes.
I actually didn't because I was listening. I was there.
You were there.
Remember, on my phone.
I put down you were present and then left. So you were actually there. This meeting, January 19th, you did miss.
I did. Okay. Then I guess it doesn't need any changes.
okay. Anything else on the minute?
Nope.
Okay, all those in favor of adopting the minutes as presented for the regular meeting held on January 19th, And the workshop and regular meeting held on February 2nd, 2021. Please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass. Presentations, congratulations and introductions. Catherine, there's several items listed in there under community and economic development, so you have the floor.
Yes, thank you. A lot of items going on, many major projects all coming to a conclusion or at least being moved forward. So the first one is Route 11, which is what we would know as Main Street. So the Route 11/10 is our Main Street highway construction rehabilitation project. And so we had discovered from seeing a copy of the 3-year Maine DOT work plan for 2021, 2022, 2023, that the Main Street project had been moved back another year again. So we asked some specific questions and contacted the project manager of the Maine DOT project, specifically what was going on and how had the project changed? Because all of a sudden, I was being told that rather than a $734,000 project, it was a $2.8 million project. And now it's a $4 million project in the latest review information that's come. So I wanted to go over this with the councilors, but specifically also for the public so that everyone would know. I know that people are very frustrated on this and the Main Street is coming apart with the top layer coming off. However, DOT has explained out in detail to all the questions that I asked. Only 2 questions remain, and we're waiting for those questions so that we can contact other state agencies on other grants that we have that have been held. So basically, in your package, you have an updated letter from project manager Randall Barrows. He did a good job writing this up because it's got a lengthy history here. It's been going on for a number of years. So the Main Street project, or what we would know as a Main Street project, which started out just to be the center area of Main Street in the downtown, which continued to get larger and expand over time. Randy writes that the project has become more comprehensive over the years. There is a significant increase in construction costs since the project originally was programmed. Increased in length since it was originally programmed. When the project was first added to the work plan, the project length was 0.94 miles, so approximately a mile. And if you look at the very downtown area, that would fit. The original description was beginning approximately 0.02 miles south of Nickel Street and extending 0.94 miles to 0.019 miles north of Livingston Street. So basically it was Main Street from Nickel Street to Livingston Street. And then the intent had been to rehabilitate portion of the sidewalk that was considered to be the urban area. And so that's the actual urban area under the state guidelines. So then a project was planned for $517,000, so approximately $500,000. The project limits were then extended on either side of the project because when they went through and did the state pug mill project, the southern limit was extended approximately 0.38 miles because that section was not well suited to the type of material they were going to put down. So they extended it further on the southern part. On the northern part, which is headed toward SVH and the town limit, that was extended because the town's water main project was ongoing. And we have been fortunate enough, and when the money comes, you got to take the money and use it. And so we had been awarded a massive Main Street project and some sewer funds, but mostly for water extension to correct several roads problems and the North Main Street area that had at least 28 broken areas that had been fixed. And so this was a major problem, and every year the water would be shut off and we would be struggling to fix this water main that should have been replaced years ago. But we were able to get a massive loan, some grant monies, and when you can get these loans for 0 or 1% interest, you got to go and take them. And so that delayed the project going through. It's just a pavement project. And so because this area got added, the price of the project went up to $734,000, and that's the figure that's in the state work plan now. Randy writes that this type of funding is more in line with a state pug mill project, which is a lot less a scope than what's taking place. It's basically the pavement structure and condition of only the travel way. And as you will recall, going down Main Street, once you get out of town area and you head up by the library at MCI, the pavement on the sides of the road is deteriorated very bad. It's poor. It's dangerous for people to walk on if they're not walking on the sidewalk or bicycling or anyone trying to go around. And so these shoulders have been added to the project, as well as all of the drainage areas that are issues on what was known as South Main Street. So MDOT will be reconstructing, paving shoulders and adding, replacing drainage on the northerly part of the project, which is the South Main Street part. And also on the other part of the project going up towards Sebastopol Valley Hospital and Northern Lights. So the middle of the project will remain primarily a pavement preservation style project. So now the project cost is even more. It's $4 million.
Where are we supposed to come up with $4 million?
Well, the state doesn't have the money for this project, which is one of the reasons why our project, as well as $8 million of other projects in Pittsfield, were all moved back another year. And so the department indicates that they saw a decrease in projected funding due to COVID-19, which everybody is facing. They also had a lot of uncertainty. They were unable to get the project all planned out last year, so it did not get scheduled. The department made strategic decisions how to best use what funding they had. For supplemental projects, which is the supplemental funding, which is what we're looking for, they have, from what it appears we're being given, they've already requested the commitment letter. And there is a work plan letter that has to go in September through October of 2021. And so the projected schedule now is to go through all of the design work from now through There'll then be virtual public information, which is a public meeting, and that will be done through Zoom, one of their other programs, and that will be from 3/22 to 4/2/2022. So there'll be a whole schedule of when meetings will be set up, and generally they have at least 2 preliminary type public hearings on a project and an information session. There'll be a 2-week online presentation. And then we'll go into the preliminary utility coordination, the plans impact, utility coordination, final design, which will be done between 4/23/2021 to 3/29/2022. Then we go into environmental coordination, all the right-of-way issues, all the
And you,
What is that noise?
I haven't heard that before. The project will be advertised in April 26, 2022. Construction will begin 6/7, which is June 7, 2022. Construction completed 7/1/2023. So there's a couple of questions that I've given to them. I've asked when they talked about a commitment letter that would be given to the Department of Economic and Community Development. You know, is that one they're going to give to the town, or they're going to send it directly to DECD so that they can show that the project is ongoing and that our money is integral to it, which should help us with trying to acquire an amendment. The state has made it clear that we can't go out and just throw the pavement down because the sidewalk has to be put in at the time the road is put in, so everything is blended together. So DOT owns the road and they approve when we can touch it or build on it. So we've got to be in their schedule. So at this point, we have the entire schedule. They'll be acquiring other money, and we're supposed to have a commitment letter. I've asked some questions about when our design work has to be available. CES and our engineer, now acquired by Haley Ward, has the files and is working on the plans now. And so I've asked how they will fit into the schedule. so that we can get some dates for a work session for the public, town councilors, planning board, CDGB committee, and everyone else, anyone, businesses, anyone that's interested, so they can get input into the project. And then we'll design the project as fast as we can go and get it to the state and try to push this schedule along. So that's the information I have on the Main Street project. Are there any questions on that? Because I know I went through it pretty quickly. All right, so we've got a schedule now that has everything listed that needs to be done by DOT that has not yet been completed. So that goes on to the Main Street Sidewalk project and multiple other smaller grant projects. Once we have the answers to the 2 questions that we're waiting for from MDOT, I'll be contacting the Department of Economic and Community Development to talk to them about how we need just one more amendment and to explain the reasons why. And I will have the letter from the Maine Department of Transportation with their commitment that the project's going to go forward. So hopefully that will be helpful. We've already sent in all the jobs information from Chimbro. We completed everything that we needed to do, and we've just been stuck because we can't put the sidewalk in first and would not be permitted to do so by Maine DOT. And they seem to understand what needed to be in the commitment letter. So I have a feeling that this has happened before to other communities that have been held up on projects. There's an MDOT process, as the MCI engineer, Plymouth Engineering, has stated, that MDOT has their own project schedule, and they will do things the way that they tend to do. And so it's not as though we can change that, or anyone can change that. They have quite a set process. The other smaller grant projects are all set. I have commitments that have been extended for all of the tree planting grants. Everything's been extended through June 30th, 2021. We'll know far in advance of where the right-of-way will be at that time for the planting of the trees. So I'll start that shortly. We have a variety of other smaller grants for pedestrian walkways, items, benches, bike racks, and a variety of aesthetic items. So those are all set. Everybody, all the funders gave us the money and said, once you're ready, just file your paperwork that states that it's been taken care of, show pictures and everything. So we're all set on all of those. Number 3 is a town video commissioned by the Pittsfield Economic Expansion Corporation. All councilors should have received a copy of the video in an email. And if not, then I can resend it. So that has a password. You go into the email and look at the video. It's very nice. They've cleaned up a lot of the little items that didn't fit together. It's very smooth and just goes forward for the 2.5 minutes, zips through and has scenes all that fit in together that look really good with a lot of different businesses and individuals and community projects. So it's very nice. And if anyone has any comments on that, what should we set for a date, Heather? Have them get back to us by Thursday or Friday?
Yeah, I think I mean, it only takes literally 2.5, 3 minutes to watch the video, maybe 5 minutes altogether to log in and do it and everything. So if you can get the okay back to Catherine and any comments that you have, then we can get that released and get it put up onto the website and the Facebook and really put it out there. We can put it on the YouTube channel, really push it out to the world and let everybody know how beautiful our community is, especially because it has snow now. So
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Well, I did happen to look at it, and it is very nice. So you go ahead and put it out there. I don't know if anyone else has watched it, but it is very nice.
All right, let's say Thursday by noon. If I don't hear any comments not to do it, I'll just say go, we're done. We've waited a long time.
Okay.
Looks good. We can distribute it to businesses to use and connect with all kinds of people. Number 4 are planning board review projects, and this will be a report from the planning board also. The planning board held a special workshop with the code enforcement officer and the town manager last Monday on the 8th. At the workshop, there were 3 items that were accomplished. First, The planning board agreed to the use of Zoom for its meetings, and they'll start out with an informal session first to get used to it, but everybody in the room had utilized Zoom consistently, so they seemed all set and thought it was a good idea. The planning board was agreeable to training opportunities that were located for them, and had a general basic planning board, zoning board of appeals training through the Maine Municipal Association. For members, it's helpful as a refresher for long-term members. So we're working on signing everybody up for that. Second, there'll be a more specific training session that will be held with the Kennebec Valley Council of Governments, Director of Planning Joel Greenwood. That will be on land use ordinances. Specifically, Joel's going to start with a subdivision ordinance, which we're now studying and looking at. That session is tentatively scheduled for Monday, March 15th at 6:00 p.m. It will be held on Zoom. It will be advertised so anyone can sign up, council members, Board of Appeals members, citizens, any committee, anybody who is interested in the subdivision ordinance, including developers.
What date is that, Catherine?
It's on Monday, March 15th.
Thank you.
You're welcome. A session was held on the subdivision ordinance, so that was the meat of the meeting for about an hour, in which I, as the town manager, spent the time with the board members reviewing the current ordinance and sections in it that we had identified that might be those areas that we should look at to see if they were too strict, or was there something that we could do that could make it easier for developers but still protect the town? Were there items that needed to be changed? Because when you look at it, we have not had any major subdivisions for many decades. We had one, but it was uncertified because they couldn't sell the lot because it would happen during a down economy. We've had a number of family or smaller subdivisions called minor subdivisions, but we've talked about the need of new housing to bring people to town and for people here in town to move into that might want to move out of their older house. And so this is a desperate need, especially from all the phone calls that we've got since the pandemic started up. And this is likely going to continue. So I've identified sections to look at in the ordinance, and also marked up sections and went over them from 5 other community subdivision ordinances that looked interesting. We've got cluster housing, like a workforce housing, planned unit developments, areas so you can have small units, tiny homes, community, something that we could promote that would make us unique. And so the planning board members were very interested in that. They did want some training on the subdivision ordinance. That is, we had indicated that we would help them with any ordinances, and they chose that one, which is fine, fitting. So I'll make sure that information goes out. Quickly, we have multiple airport grants ongoing. And so now we're working on an engineering one with the stormwater drainage system that's going to be put in. We've closed off a couple of others, and then shortly, I hope, we'll be applying after it seems to be 11 years working on the piecemealing the hangar project together. So we'll be applying for a grant in May or April, May on the town hangar project. Number 6 is Maine Efficiency Funding Opportunity. There is a new Efficiency Maine rebate program in which you can get a vast majority of the cost of upgrading to LD lighting or upgrading the lighting that you have now. Some of our lighting appears to be the original building lighting and some of the outer buildings. So we're getting inventories together from all of the buildings that the town owns. We can look at the lighting. The library is pretty up to date. The town did a project a number of years ago, like 15 years ago, when we got all kinds of money to upgrade everything. But lighting is, out of date already. So we'll look at all of the buildings and see what's involved. We would need a electrician who's certified. So we are looking for one right now. It looks like Barney has found us one, our fire chief, that will come over and go through a few of the buildings. So that will be a project that will move fast. We will look it over and see what is economical. Obviously, we can't do everything that exists. And some of the buildings, we would save a lot more money than others. And some of them have lighting problems while others aren't used that much. So we'll have to weigh this all out and see what we want to apply for. Number 7 is the Northern Regional Border Commission grant opportunity. This is a grant opportunity that the town of Pittsfield was very fortunate to be, along with the city of Auburn several years ago, to be the first towns in the state of Maine to be awarded one of these grants. And since then, there's been awards in 3 other years to Maine communities. And so this grant project is back again for the enhancement of economic development opportunities. Our project had been to install the sewer line along a section of Madawaska Road, which would help the SAS facility to be able to function if it had been brought to capacity. So a section of Madawaska Road was done with the amount of funds that we had available. It is a 50-50 match. So if we had a $500,000 project, the town would have to come up with $250,000 and the grant would be for $250,000. So that's an opportunity that's coming right up in March that we can look at and see if there's any particular projects that we have in mind. It will be highly competitive now, but there also is a larger amount of monies available than usual to part of the stimulus package, I'm sure. And then 8, there's a whole variety of other grant opportunities that we're looking at. And so those will be coming forward. They're mostly smaller grants. And so you'll be hearing about those as we move forward. Thank you.
Okay, we are on to public hearings and old business. Catherine, the items that we carried over from the last meeting, they don't go here. They're going under new business tonight.
Yeah, we left them with their numbers because we never did anything with them because the meeting basically didn't exist. We just had a nice informational session.
Okay, all right. So we'll pass over public hearings and old business and we'll dig right into reports. Council committees, I don't believe any council committees have met, but we do have a calendar that's presented tonight. Did you want to talk about that now or did you want to tackle that later on?
Why don't we talk about the calendar? Just briefly, I took the months of March through December, embedded the budget calendar along with a finance committee schedule, a schedule for the ordinance committee, and a schedule for the recycling committee, and have the council meetings listed out. And so there is a calendar format in your package that you would have received via email. And you also have a list of meetings. And so I put in with most people that contacted me back, people wanted meetings on Tuesday evenings, except for the recycling committee, which would be a Wednesday evening. And so the meetings start up of finance and ordinance in March, continue into April, May. The recycling committee starts up in June, because we'll be going through the recruitment of members, as unfortunately several members of the recycling committee passed away in this last year, which is very sad. And so we'll have Arbor Day activities and Earth Day activities, which will be individual family activities suggested by the recycling committee members, the current 2 members of the committee, Donnie and myself, in addition. So we'll come up with some activities that families can do. And then in June, when things should be improving in the health situation, the recycling committee will start to meet.
I just wanted to say, normally we skip the summer because of things, but because of COVID and the way things have been, and we haven't been able to really dig into an awful lot, I think it's imperative that we have the meetings this summer to catch up on some things that we're going to need to be done. Hopefully everybody's in agreement with that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That noise again.
Something going on.
So I think Deborah had mentioned before, or maybe Amanda had asked about having students be involved in some of the activities. And can we send a notice over to MCI of when the recycling committee is going to be and what it's all about, and try and drum up some younger people to get involved in the recycling committee?
We said we would do that, yes.
Okay.
Good idea. Very
Counselors,
good idea.
about the calendar. I think it's good that we're keeping everything on Tuesday nights. It helps everybody remember what night it is. And I think based on everybody's work schedules, we might have to do some tweaking on the 6:30 time. We can check with Amanda what her work schedule is like. But I think 6:30 is a good time to just keep it straight through on all of them. I know it was confusing last year when we had some at 6, some at 5:30, some at 6:30.
I like the ones at 5 o'clock. Those are good.
So Amanda had indicated 6:30 for her meetings, which is fine. The ordinance, people that have responded, our ordinance had said 6. But Pete, is 6 okay for you, or do you want 6:30?
No, 6 is fine.
All right, thank you.
Okay. I'm just not, my eyes aren't working. I thought they all said 6:30. I think my glasses are,
I did too.
they're too close to me, I think, because of my glasses. All right. So we're good with that calendar. Does anybody have any other questions about it?
So if this is the calendar and we have no changes, like I can go ahead and put this in my phone and be done with this.
It doesn't sound like we're making any changes tonight, but I think we all need to be flexible when we get to, we're looking at
Budget
November,
time.
December. Things might happen between now and then.
Yeah, when we get into the budget season.
Yeah. Thanks for putting that together, Catherine.
Yes, thank you.
Board and committee updates by town councilors and manager. Does any town councilors have any updates to do? I don't think so, because none of the boards have really been meeting. Catherine, do you want to do an update?
Yes, very quickly. The airport committee is all set to meet. They've collected up information. So as soon as they give me some dates that they're interested in meeting, we
Where
can,
are you reading from, Catherine? Is this in your report or?
no, it's not my report. These are the other meetings.
Oh, okay.
So we've got the airport committee that was going to report back to you. So as soon as I get a couple of dates, I can schedule a meeting by Zoom for them. And they would know what they had for dates for the chairperson and for Caleb. And I wanted to note that the Parks and Recreation Committee will be resuming meetings on Wednesday, February 24th at 6 p.m. by Zoom. And so they'll be starting to work on some of their capital plans, the facilities and everything. So we'll start to get everybody up and going again.
Catherine, are we still looking for a counselor to represent the council on the airport committee at that meeting?
Yes.
And Pete, were you still interested in going to that if your schedule allows?
I'd like to, if the schedule allows, but with this Zoom garbage, I'm not really interested in participating in meetings.
Okay. All right, we'll play it by ear and we'll look at the schedule and see what it comes up with for a schedule and then check again.
All right, I'll let everyone
How often does the airport committee meet?
as needed. As needed.
Well, I could do that.
I could also do
Is
that
any-
if you need,
Is-
if Deb's already booked enough.
Well, I'm on a committee that isn't going to meet again before I have to run for reelection, so I would have time, but Jason, you should be on it too if you want.
Doesn't matter. I was just offering,
Yep,
but whatever works.
is that all right, Catherine?
All right, I will contact everyone, but if Jason would like to be the airport representative, he can be.
Okay,
It's very interesting. All right, we'll add Jason right on before anybody says no. But everybody else is welcome to attend. And there are no other committees that are set up as of yet.
Okay, thank you. So that brings us to town manager report.
Yes, I'm going to skim through this. I've got a rather lengthy town manager's report, so I'm not going to read all this. I'm just going to hit the topics. Number one, the special election for town councilor. The council district number 2 election is scheduled for Thursday, February 25th. 3 certified nomination papers were filed by the deadline, who were John W. Buys, Brent D. Frost, and Samantha R. Muir. So we've had ads in the Rolling Thunder, sent out information on Facebook pages, made little signs. Any word of mouth that people can get out, that's very helpful. We have a list of all the roads for District 2, which is important to get out because we don't want people showing up from all over town, driving down for an extra trip and then finding out it's only for District 2. So we tried to advertise that so people would be aware. Number 2, research projects and freedom of access requests. These continue. I feel I jinxed it when I indicated we never get these. Only a couple since I've been here, and that's a long time. But we've gotten a few more after I got finished the other ones. And so one is on several years of financial data. That one's pretty easy to do. The second one is from an international law group based in Virginia with an office in Maine, looking for specific information on the Taylor Road again, wanting the exact physical starting point and ending point of the discontinued road, as well as the exact location of the center line. So these are items that towns never have, unless it's a new laid out road on a subdivision plan. And so I've sent the letter off to the town attorney. I believe that we've met our burden of responsibility and don't need to spend a massive amount of money here doing other things, but we'll see what the recommendation is and I'll report back on that. We provided a lot of information and spent a long period of time going through all of the town meeting books to put everything together. And so everything that the town has was given to the other parties that asked for this, who have transferred the information to the new owners who evidently have an out-of-state law firm. So for freedom of access requests, these are items that have a specific requirement under the state law to meet a specific time frame. But if people want information, if anyone wants a copy of a budget, copy of a tax card, a copy of a tax map, or a copy of a financial report or appointment paper or anything that's not confidential under the law, you just ask for it. You don't need to file a letter or come in and say it's freedom of access. We honor dozens of these a week on all kinds of information. So that's just regular information requests. Number 3, the computer system and financial systems. I'll let you read all that. We did get a few things fixed on the server and the computer system network, which was very helpful. We located a new company that is recommended by Trio Harris to be able to work with the Trio financial software, so there's not issues like there is when a regular computer company tries to work on that. We used to have that, and after a few companies early on when I came here, it became evident we needed to learn how to work on the system ourselves, and so we fixed things ourselves and really didn't have any problems until the last couple of years. And so fortunately, we found a company and we're getting a proposal for them for a number of different projects on the system to do a complete review and overhaul of the system, how to make it more efficient and effective and secure, if that's an item. And we're not sure it is, but let's check it over. And for maintenance costs in order to, be available for questions and issues that come up. Since the phone system has been connected into the computer system, this has made things much more complex. And so there are a lot more issues than there used to be. So hopefully the proposal, when it comes back, will be a reasonable cost, because we also want to do some digitization of records. We've got about 25 boxes of materials we've taken downstairs that we will put through, and then would like to have some assistance with a digitization company rather than have us stand at the photocopier and attempt to digitize items while people are trying to use the photocopier. That can take a while and doesn't usually work out well. So we'll let you know how that goes along, but it's good to find a company that actually it comes well recommended by other communities. End of the year processes for regular financial work, because of all the requests pouring in and issues coming out in the state and federal government requirements and all of the freedom of access requests, nothing has been done on the end of the year since I started that early on. And so I hope to get back to that this weekend, and I will advise you that I'm going to plan to just work on that next week. And so that means other work will not be done, but we do need to finish this and get it completed. There's, as I said, several hundred hours of work that needs to be done, and I got my shortcut list all set up. So we'll be zipping along as fast as we can go here. Number 5, the backup generator system bids. All of our associates are still reviewing those. They picked them up, did the bid tab, checked the prices. The low bid is $72,785.70. So if that is a legitimate price, that would be very good. Number 6 is municipal building generator upgrade. While on leave, our fire chief, EM director, does need items to work on at home, as it can be boring being at home and not being able to leave. So Bernard is working on locating a generator that will fit the building's needs as well as our budget. So this would be a big improvement. Number 7, the new transfer station building. We are working with all the insurance companies on trying to come to a solution on this, and I had hoped it would be taken care of this week. Donnie had thought that we might have the repairs taking place this week, so hopefully I'll hear shortly. Number 8, transfer station 2021 sticker required for access. We, as of yesterday, had given out 719 new transfer station stickers. Last year, at the end of the year, we had approximately 1,200 stickers. So we still have a few people to go. It is winter, so less people do go to the transfer station during the winter. There are a number of people who are out of town, and we have the snowbirds and everything. So not everyone goes to the transfer station as much as they normally would during the summer. 9 is a 2016 police cruiser was sold to the town of Clinton. They did pay the $8,000 by check, and that was sold as is and was taken care of last week. Number 10, the highway hazard survey. MMA had conducted a very thorough review of the highway garage, and we have a very long list of items to review and correct. And so we're starting to go through that now. I anticipate that it's going to take a while. Number 11, shortly after we got that report, we were invited to join the Safety Incentive Program at MMA, Risk Management Services for Workers' Compensation. And so it is a voluntary program. There is a lot of paperwork from my review. It offers the town the opportunity to earn up to 10% deduction or contribution credit. So your price would be 90% of the cost of the workers' comp. We have great overall town safety. Our safety coordinator, Don Shute, does a great job. However, there do seem to be a lot of accidents and incidents in one area that needs to be investigated, and some rules set up, and some training provided in those particular areas. Number 12, tax liens foreclosed for the 2018 taxes, and we have just one property, which was a dilapidated mobile home that should be condemned, that is on rented land. So this may be one that has to be hauled out, or hopefully we can make arrangements, but we're going through the steps in the tax acquired property policy to take care of that. We're very fortunate. Other towns have a lot of properties that foreclose, and the deputy treasurer does a great job hounding people to get them to pay up their taxes. Because if you don't, if somebody doesn't pay up the tax and it forecloses, to get their property back, they have to pay up 3 years' taxes, which is a lot of money. So we try to keep them ahead of the foreclosures, so that each time the foreclosure comes up, so it doesn't foreclose, we try to get them to pay ahead of that. And usually people can do that. Number 13, board committee Openings for 2021, we have openings on the Airport Committee, Board of Appeals, Board of Assessment Review, Board of Ethics, Board of Health, Cemetery Trustees, Economic Development Committee team, Housing Rehab Revolving Loan Committee, Parks and Recreation, Planning Board, and Recycling Committee. Now, over half of those are inactive committees because they meet when an application is received. So sometimes it's hard to keep members on there. And then there's been some changes on a few of the boards, and some people have moved out of town or passed away, unfortunately. Number 14, positions available. We are still advertising for the part-time rec director's position since Susie had decided to focus during COVID-19 on her new business, which is certainly understandable to make a go of that. We also have advertised for a temporary transfer station attendant. So if there's anyone out there that would like to work part-time to full-time, we really need help at the transfer station because we have an employee remains out on leave. This is a position that may turn into a regular position. There's no guarantees now, but this may happen. Number 15, staff department meetings. There'll be a monthly Zoom meeting that will be held for the departments on important items and projects, as well as to provide opportunities for the staff to work together. The first meeting will be held the first week of March. Number 16, MSAD 53 budget presentation. The school superintendent and directors will be in to the April 6th meeting for a budget presentation for the 2021-2022 budget. Number 17, water 30-day notices went out. Given that the town accounts, there are 6 pages of town accounts in which people have not paid anything during the pandemic, and the bills that are owed to the town are climbing. We have started the lien process before the dates expire, and we can't do that. The notices for outstanding water bills total over $11,000, and we've been as understanding as we can be, knowing that people are having trouble paying their bills, but it has come to the point where we do need to, for due diligence, we do need to pursue the collection process. And so there are many extensive number of payment plans that are set up, many phone calls that are made. So this is done with multiple steps before we would do this. Number 18, highway projects timeline and steps. The staff are combining and compiling all the regular and special project approvals so that we can put that on the timeline and have items done in a timely fashion. Number 19, a very important project, airport brush and tree cutting. Due to the cold weather and the ground finally freezing, the Public Works Department will be starting all the brush and tree cutting for the obstruction removal that's required. And we need to do that before we file our grant application at the end of April, beginning of May, so that MDOT, Maine DOT, can certify that the areas that are supposed to be cut have taken place. And since we have spent so many years trying to get the funding all to work for the hangar, we definitely need to get everything cut that we can. Number 20, safety supplies. We made our first large order of safety supplies for all the departments since we had the grant that we received last year. The grant took care of the entire year and up till now, and we still have a few supplies left over from it. So we were very fortunate to get that grant last year for safety supplies. And so now we're using budgeted funds. 21, and the last item is a rapid rectangular flashing beacons. We have the opportunity to compete for a new set of flashing beacons for one of the roads in town for an area that we think needs that. And this would be a set that would be similar to those on School Street, Somerset Avenue. There are less than 40 units that are available for the entire state, so it will be very competitive. There's an agreement that has to be signed. We take training, we go pick up the hardware, and the unit needs to be set up with the town's, by the town's cost. So that information packet has gone to the Public Works Department to review locations in town. We'd like to put these probably in a number of places, but it has to be areas that meet the state guidelines, the federal guidelines for where they can be located. And so that is not all areas of the town. So Highway is working on that. And if you're interested in that, we can bring this back to the next meeting with a list of locations and then compete with the other towns to see if we can get a set. So let me know what you think. Thank you. That is the end of the long report.
Thank you, Catherine. The beacon, I guess I'm a little confused about what it is. Is it similar to the, like one that you can move around town?
That's
Like-
a different one. These two all sort of came up at the same time. We competed and we got on the list and were told we were approved for the moving radar sign.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of.
Limit sign that we would put on a little trailer. So we're told we're going to get that, which is great because we need it. And then this would be the beacons that would set in place and not be mobile. So they would be located on a road like Heartland or Somerset or someplace down by the plaza or wherever the road and the walkways would allow it to be done.
So similar to the one by the rail trail?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. Any other questions for Catherine before we move on to folks?
I had a quick question. Have we ever thought about auto bill pay for the water and sewer stuff? Like you said, there's like $11,000 that hasn't been paid. Is there any kind of like easier way to
We actually
have people pay for that?
the processes that we're going through now with the info main system, the numbers were changed inappropriately by an employee that caused all of this angst on how the monies were applied into the inland fisheries program. So once that's straightened out completely down to the dollar, it's all isolated in one account. Once that's all straightened out for the audit, then we'll go on to all the other programs that can be set up. You can set up an automatic tax payment program through InfoMain. You can set up automatic utility billing payments. Yes, so yes, but right now we're working on the fishing, all the game licenses, the motor vehicles, the trailers, and there's several other types of boat registrations and everything. The numbers got changed by an employee several times, so the monies all went into different accounts. The total is correct, but it's not in the right accounts. So that's a project that I need to work on next week.
Catherine, do you think that, I think we had talked about that before, all the different things that we could use the electronic payment system for, Jason. And Catherine had said at that point, let's take it like step by step and take off a couple things at a time.
And
So
thank we did, because that will never happen again. We put passwords on so nobody can change the accounts like that. That was not something that would happen with any of the current employees at all. But it did happen, and so we're working our way through it. The total is correct, but it's not segregated into the right account. So we're doing a whole audit ourselves, which is one of the items that's taking so long. But once that is taken care of, then we would add on all these other programs. But I will say, this is a convenience thing. It will get the town more money. And people will pay on credit cards when they don't have the money, which is unfortunate, but that does get the town the money quicker. But it's taking all the downloads and all the steps to work with the state softwares and everything, excluding the changing of the numbers that shouldn't happen. This takes an exorbitant amount of time. It's, you know, we were talking the other day that it's almost like we've created another work for another position, basically. So I'm glad that we're doing it step by step. I didn't think it would take this much time, but yes. And there's some other programs too. There's one in which we can email all the people. Once the email addresses all stay the same.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, so that's a good point.
Catherine, do you think that that would be sorted out in time for people to make tax payments coming up in October?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. This has to be sorted out for the audit coming right up. It will be sorted out. It needs somebody to sit down and just go through every single payment and item and allocate them to the right accounts and agree on what the amounts are, which the total agrees, but all the accounts don't agree.
Right.
And so this will get straightened out.
Okay. Any other questions, counselors?
figured out who that person is.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay, so let's go on to new business. We have ordinance 21-01.
Ordinance 21-01 to be set to public hearing on March 2nd, 2021, that the town of Pittsfield hereby ordains that the ordinance authorizing transfer of funds for the Pittsfield Municipal Airport be adopted.
We'll look for a motion, counselors.
Move we had set ordinance 21-01 to public hearing on 3/12/2021.
Second.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Deb. Caleb, thanks for your patience and hanging out with us here tonight.
Hey, no problem.
Catherine, did you want to go through this, or are we just setting it to public hearing tonight and then discuss it on the 12th?
We're
I'm
set
sorry.
the public hearing, but I'll just note that this has been a long time coming, and the fact that we found a partner town that as an airport gets entitlement funds just like the town of Pittsfield and does not need their funding, and in fact would lose it at a certain point because they don't have any projects scheduled in their capital improvement plan. So they can lend it to the town of Pittsfield, who needs the money now in order to apply and start the airport hangar project. And then we don't have any other projects until the other town needs the monies back. And so it's a perfect arrangement. It's the towns all get, who have general aviation airports, $150,000 of entitlement funds, but you can only save up to 600,000. A hangar is 1 million or more. So you can see the problem that happens. You can't get enough money, and it's considered a revenue generator, so you can't actually get real grant money for it. So you have to come up with the monies in other ways, and the towns would never, on the airports, would never go borrow the money through a general obligation bond. So this new program has been created by the Maine DOT for the towns to trade the money around and then pay it back at the appropriate time. So we're very fortunate that we found Rangeley, and Caleb had worked on that project quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll start just by taking questions if anybody has specific questions. I know most of you are fairly familiar with how the CIP program works, but maybe there's some questions about what the hangar is. I mean, I know when I hear $1 million hangar, it seems like, what are we building down there? The Taj Mahal, or, you know, so just go ahead and throw some questions out, or I can describe the hangar, or whatever you guys want to do.
Caleb, can you describe the hangar so that the public that's watching this will understand what exactly we're talking about? I mean, some of that stuff runs together, but if they hear it from you as the airport manager, I think it goes quite a ways. I think it'll help.
Yeah. So basically, it's a pre-engineered building that is made of steel. So it's steel sided, and it's a nested T hangar. So that means that the space in the building is designed so that we can fit the most amount of airplanes in there, and the tails are kind of side by side. They're like nested together. It's probably the most common building that you see on an airport to store airplanes, and it's a, you know, I call it just a shell. It's just steel beams with steel siding screwed onto the sides of it. The building, unfortunately, fortunately, isn't the real expensive part. It's all the earthwork and drainage, and the way that the FAA has all the specifications for how work needs to happen at Pittsfield or at Boston Logan. It really drives the cost of the project up tremendously. But so basically, we're talking about a hangar that's big enough to put 6 small airplanes in. And it's not heated. There will be electricity. There's no running water. There'll be it's a real standard building that you would find at a airport to store airplanes in. It's basically just a shell that has a big bifold door. It'll have 6 bifold doors, so you'll be able to put a plane in each spot and store them and be able to move planes without having to move somebody else's plane. And, and this includes the building and the hot top and all the earthwork. And one of the reasons that I was explained, or that was explained to me with why the cost was so high is back when J.R. Chinchetta, back when the people first built the airport, they had to haul a lot of fill in to get it up to a certain level. And when they did the borings, hold on, I got my daughter coming down here. When they she stopped. When they did the borings to do like the soil tests, they found that there was actually there was not a good foundation of soil, so they need to dig down. Whereas typically they may only dig down 3 feet. In this location, the engineers want to dig down 4 feet or something. So all those pieces add up to. Unfortunately, which it just makes my blood boil to say this word, $1 million. But
I think it's good for the public to understand, all the ins and outs and what the FAA requirements are and things of that nature, because a lot of that stuff is stuff that's way beyond local control. And the days of just going down there and throwing up a building, that doesn't happen anymore. And like you said, it's a high price tag, but it's understandable why it would be that much because of all the recommendations, the soil and things of that nature. So thank you for doing that, Caleb.
Thanks, Tim. Deb, did you have something?
No, I'm all set.
I had something right quick, and I'm just not that familiar with the whole setup, but so the land is town land. How does that? So do you lease the hangar or lease the land off the town? Like how does that all work? Like how does, I mean, the taxpayers or this fund, pays for the hangar. So how does the kickback, or how does the town get reimbursed for some of that stuff?
So, I think there's a bunch of different ways to answer that question, but I'll focus specifically on this hangar project. So I do
Right, yeah.
I do lease land from the town of Pittsfield at the airport that I pay a lease rate on, but that's separate. So this.
Right, just the hangar.
This particular hangar project would be owned by the town of Pittsfield on land that is owned by the town of Pittsfield. And, me personally, or my business may rent one spot in that hangar, right? But mostly it would be other people that would rent spots in the hangar, and that money would go directly to the town of Pittsfield. So Curtis Air, or would not, from the way that Catherine and I have talked, we probably wouldn't even be a middleman in that scenario. It would be money that it would be like renting a condo type of thing, and that money would go directly to the town of Pittsfield. So
okay.
I know that airports like Old Town and not so much Norwalk, but Old Town and Waterville's working on it, have lots of these T hangars that are the exact same ones that we're trying to build. And in their instances, they have actually borrowed money and not even gone to the FAA because it's such a difficult process. As you can see, we've been 11 years trying to get money from the FAA to do this. They actually went to Old Town in this instance, went and borrowed money as a town to build these hangars to have the development at their airport. And the town just collects the monthly rent. I think Old Town is $300 or $350 a month for each spot. And that money is a revenue generator for the airport. And in this instance, it would be, if, hopefully we can pull it off, it would be all that money would go to the town to help offset the cost for the next, hopefully we have buildings down here that are not steel buildings and not steel sided that have lasted over 50 years. So I imagine this building would last, a good long time and be a good generator of revenue for the, I personally view it as being like one of the best things that could happen to the town of Pittsfield's airport for the long-term stability of the airport. I mean, right now, we offer a lot of really good services down here, and we have a really active FBO, probably one of the most active FBOs at an airport this size in the state of Maine. So that's a real big drive for Pittsfield right now. But if for some reason we weren't here, you need good hangars for planes to come to the airport, and we don't. Right now we have decent hangars, but they're not really anything. They're just really basic and really pretty old and built by good people, but just not built to the standards that most people would want to have their planes into. So I really view this as, for the long-term stability and the long-term growth of the airport, this is probably one of the best things that, other than repaving the runway, that has happened to the airport. Because if for some reason we're not here as the FBO someday, which hopefully, that'll be a long time from now, but somebody will come to the airport and see that we've got nice hangars and this is a good place to invest, and a good place to be at. So.
Caleb,
Yeah,
there's already
awesome.
a lot of interest in renting those hangars before they're even built, isn't there?
Oh my goodness, yes. Yep, we will not have any trouble
Sure.
renting those hangars. All 6 of them will be rented. In fact, we might have a little bit of an airport cat fight about who gets them, but
Well, that's good for the collection of rent then.
yes, yeah, I don't think that there'll be, no, you'll be able to get the full rent right out of the bat, I believe, so.
Nice.
And is that rent something that Curtis Air will dictate or kind of?
Nope, that'll be set by the town of Pittsfield. I would imagine that we would make it somewhat in line with what other airports are, and I think the FAA will require that we put it, pretty much in line with what other local airports.
Okay.
Are, which, I mean, I hate to put a number out there, and maybe I don't need to, but I mean, I think that
You don't need to. I was just curious.
yeah. So. No, but this is all good questions. So don't feel like, if anybody has questions like this, bring it up. I feel like the airport sometimes is, it's pretty hard to kind of understand exactly what's going on. So there's no problem with questions.
And
Thanks, Caleb.
Caleb, the town currently has some buildings down there that you said are currently leased out for parking spots for planes. And we have direct contracts with those customers already.
Well, so none of the buildings that store airplanes are owned by the town of Pittsfield right now.
Okay.
The only one that was ever owned by the town of Pittsfield, and Catherine can correct me, was the what we call the town hangar, which was the domed roof hangar that was built in the 40s down here. And I bought that 5 years ago, something like that. Time flies. And because we needed to put a roof on it. So we put a roof on it, and I don't claim to be the world's best business person, but I think we're going to be tearing it down next year or this spring, so that Chimbro's Chimbro's talking about building a new hangar down there potentially. So that might be right in that spot. But so right now there are no buildings that store airplanes that are owned by the town of Pittsfield.
There are several hangars that the town leases the land, and the buildings are owned by the companies or individuals that are currently in location.
Yep. So there are hangar land leases for those spots, and
Okay,
that's one of the things that the town of. That's one of the things that the airport committee has been working on, and we've been getting updated lease rates and values and. It actually is, it seems like it would be a simple thing to call up all these airports and find out what the lease rates are for their land, but there's so many different rules that to try to make it a real apples to apples comparison, you have to consider, like some towns have a really high lease rate, but they just charge by the square footage of the actual building. And like, for instance, Pittsfield doesn't do that. We charge by, we say we want a certain amount of feet on each side of the building and on the front and the back. And then they lease a big chunk of like land. So they're not just leasing the footprint of the actual building. So all those pieces kind of, add up to, they're all part of the equation. But yes, there are land leases. And that'll all be part of our presentation too, by the way.
Okay, thanks, Caleb. Any other questions for Caleb or Catherine about this? Or are we ready to vote to set it to public hearing?
I'm all set.
I'm just swiping through so I see everybody. I figured out be able
All
to see.
set.
Okay,
Yep, all set.
go ahead and vote to set ordinance 21-01 to public hearing on March 2nd. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, not hearing any, we will have a public hearing on the 2nd for that.
Caleb, thank you for coming in and sitting in on this meeting, on the Zoom meeting, and being patient. I know it's tough to watch kids and do all that and keep them entertained and keep yourself in the middle of it, but we
Well,
miss
it's
you.
actually, Landon is homeschooled this year, so I pitched it to him as this could be one of his classes to sit in and listen to how the meeting is run and kind of learn about how that is. And he's excited about maybe being part of the recycling committee. He just told me, Tim.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
We can
He
use
might be the youngest member we have, but that's okay. He's more
He's
than
got a
welcome.
lot of ideas. He's pretty wound up about making sure plastic doesn't end up in the ocean. So
All right, that would be good.
Bring a little energy to the committee. Thank you
Yes,
again
I'm sure he would.
for there with us.
yeah,
Nice to-
Thank you.
it's good to see you all
All
too.
right.
Thank you,
We're
Caleb.
Thanks, Caleb.
We're gonna go on to resolution 20-15.
Resolution 21-15, resolved that the town council appoint members to fill the vacancies on the various town boards and committees.
Are you still there, Catherine?
Yes.
Okay, I heard a noise and then it's
So did
just
I.
It
Caleb
was
is
just Caleb
gone,
leaving.
that's why.
so counselors, I'll look for a motion on this so we can start discussion.
Move we adopt resolution 21-15.
Second.
Thank you. So in your packet, there is a list of, these are all renewals for people that are already serving these positions. So they'll just be renewals to keep them in their terms or to start a new term for them. And this is one of the items that we held over from the last meeting that we had. Does anybody have any questions about this? This is pretty straightforward housekeeping type item.
There have been no other applications since the last meeting.
Okay. And we do still have more openings and those are listed on the town website as well. So if you're watching tonight and don't feel like you don't have a position in the town, because there's lots of other opportunities to serve. Some of these boards still need some additional members.
I would say all those members have been on them boards for a while that is listed there. They all are top quality people and they do an excellent job. And if they want to renew, I got no heartburn with that at all.
Okay, I don't see any of the hands up there. So let's go ahead and put this to a vote. Catherine, do we need to read off all the names or is it enough just to say as presented for the list of people?
I can read them off just so the citizens know who they are. Ron Engelhardt is a renewal for Board of Appeals. Mike Gray is a renewal for Board of Ethics. Karen Oakes is a renewal for Library Trustees. Kelly Carter is a renewal for Personnel Appeals Board. Mike Gray is a renewal for Personnel Appeals Board. And Mark LaGrosse is a renewal for Planning Board.
Thank you. Okay, counselors, resolution 20-15, all those in favor of approving the slate of committee and board appointments before us, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, not hearing any, those will be approved and we'll pass that resolution and we'll move on to 21-16.
Resolution 21-16, resolved that the town council accept the proposal of R.A. Paradise and Son of Newport in response to the request for bids dated March 2020, titled Construction Package 1, Stormwater Controls to not exceed $274,968 for the construct hangar building, Phase 2, construct stormwater controls, AIP number 3-23-0036-018-2020 at the Pittsfield Municipal Airport and authorize the town manager to execute a contract for same.
Move we adopt resolution 21-16.
Second,
Thank you. Counselors, discussion on this item?
pretty self-explanatory.
Catherine's got something.
Yes, I just wanted to note quickly that the contractor had requested, due to COVID-19 and all their projects that were backed up last year, that we move the project till this year, and it did not interfere with the different building blocks that we were going through to get to the airport hangar project. And so it is very important to now approve this, and the contractor will be moving forward quickly. It's a 2-month process, and then we'll be ready to start on the next building block in the airport hangar project. Thank you.
Thanks, Catherine. Any other discussion, counselors? Okay, all those in favor of resolution 21-16, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, not hearing any, that will pass. It'd be nice to get some of these projects that have been waylaid here back on track. Resolution 21-17, there's information in your packet, and then there's an additional supplemental information that Catherine had this evening. It's a single page.
Yes, and I can read that off after the resolution, just so that counselors that are online will hear it.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and read the resolution, Catherine?
Resolution 21-17, resolved that the town council accept the proposal of blank in an amount to not exceed blank for a 25-ton capacity trailer, option blank, and authorize the town manager to execute all paperwork for same.
Counselors, would anybody like to make a motion to discuss? So we need someone to make a motion in a second in order to discuss this item.
Move we adopt resolution 21-17 to discuss.
Thank you, Tim.
Second,
Thank you. All right, counselors. The additional information has information about foreman, the Public Works foreman making a recommendation to go with the whited truck center bid.
I have a couple of questions.
Okay, shoot, Pete.
Where's the extra money going to come from? Because this is more than was allotted for this purchase of the trailer.
$25,000 was allotted for the trailer in the capital improvement budget back in 2019. So I'm in hopes that this project is going to conclude itself shortly here, because it's been going on for too long. So we're over with the bid that's proposed by the Public Works foreman and the information I just received of $31,534 with whited truck for the 2021 Rogers trailer, which he indicates is the best price for the best product. And it does have the best delivery period because it's there now, and the other ones are 1 to 2 months to 4 months. And so the monies would come from the surplus funds that are left over from the 2019 bond, of which a few bills are still coming in. But between the 2019 and 2020 bonds that you took out on loans, which are backed by the Pittsfield Future Fund for the debt service payment, you'll recall that during the budget process, we talked about how we had just approximately $150,000 left over because the prices had come in on a number of projects very low. We had bid out some projects such as the municipal building exterior, fire station exterior, the 2 roof projects for the municipal building and the fire station. Those came in really high in the beginning, and we kept rebidding till we got really low prices. And so we saved a lot of money and figured that we would use any monies that were left over. As my proposal was to go out and do some paving on roads that did not need to be rebuilt during the summer, because you wouldn't be getting a bond or loan, but you would want to do some paving, hopefully, because there are roads in the interior of town that could just be paved over and last for quite a few years. So that will reduce it by approximately $5,000. So that would be where the money would come from, the pluses and minuses of a loan.
So 5,000 would have to come from that, and the rest was already allotted for that trailer.
Yes, correct. And I had already discounted and put that off to the side. So it's not in the 150,000, the 25,000.
So Catherine, there'd be about $145,000 left out of that surplus.
Yes.
Okay.
From the 2 bonds. And this has got to be the longest running capital improvement project. So we want to end it tonight one way or another. The prices all do seem to be, it seems exorbitant, but they all seem to be coming in around this price the first time that we did it too.
I can tell you that borrowing money in the next 2.5 years is going to be an expensive, very expensive thing. Interest rates are not going to stay where they are. So the more things we can get out of the way without borrowing money, we're a lot better off as a town than some of these towns are going to be. They're going to be caught flat-footed down the road because interest rates are going to go up. They have no choice but to go up because of all the borrowing by the federal government. So if we can get it at a reason, the less we have to borrow, the better off we're going to be as a town. And financially, 3 to 4 years. I won't be on this council, but somebody's going to be dealing with it.
So this is a trailer, and we would expect, what, 20 years out of this trailer, 30 years out of this trailer?
Our equipment has all lasted for very long periods of time. As you know, from some of the years, the 1955 Galleon grader went until the last few years. So the equipment has always far exceeded its lifespan. I would assume that this would too.
As long as it's maintained and taken care of, and when something needs to be fixed, it gets fixed. It doesn't get put on the back burner.
Yeah,
Because that's happened in the past.
this
And so
trailer. Oops, sorry. Go ahead, Deb.
No, I just wanted to say that we need to pay attention to those things. Department heads, when they see something wrong, they
Right. So
have to have the ability to get it fixed.
So this is going to be a brand new trailer, is it? Or is it going to be able to be stored inside or something? Or where is this going to be stored? I would hate to buy a brand new trailer and have it sit out in the weather.
That is a good question. Everything is, there is a lot stored in the Public Works garage in the other building, but I'm not sure if this would fit in there.
Okay. And are we sure that this isn't overkill for what we want to move around? As this might have been before I was here, so did people do their homework on that?
I believe it's true, yes, that the Public Works foreman spent, I would say, an exorbitant amount of time on this project, going over the bid specs and what it should be, making proposals to the town council, coming to the meeting. So this will be a piece of equipment that will last a long time and be expected to last a long time.
I understand it'll last a long time. I just didn't know if it was, overkill for the equipment that we're trying to move around town.
According to the Public Works foreman, no, because we, both Pete and I have worked on trying to do some other things, and actually Matt did too. And it was explained that items did not, the excavator would not fit on the size trailers that we were stating could be used.
I think it's a little bit high. I mean, I'm willing to vote for it, but I think it's absolutely imperative. I agree with Jason 100%. I think it's absolutely imperative that that gets undercover if at all possible, because that's a brand new piece of equipment. And like Deb said, you've got to maintain them, especially nowadays. Anybody that's buying anything new, whether it's new truck, new car, if you don't take care of it, boy, you're going to lose your shirt. So, I mean, I would approve it, even though I think it's a little bit high. But I think it needs to be, make sure, if at all possible, it's put undercover. And I know that's a Steve thing, Catherine. I get that, but that needs to happen.
Well, it might be a little high, but we have no choice. We need a trailer to move this equipment around. You can't drive it around from site to site. That piece of equipment would be ruined in a few short years. So we need the
Wow.
trailer. We have to bite the bullet. That's all there is to it. That's my opinion. We've put a lot of stuff off in the past that shouldn't have been put off. This might have been one of them. And like I said, it's time to pony up and.
I just hope we've reached out to some of the experts like a Brent Newhouse or a Chimbro or some of these other guys that deal with this stuff all the time, rather than going out and spending $32,000 when, maybe we could get one that's 5 years old or.
Well, that's why we have a supervisor or foreman, director of public works. That's his responsibility to do the research and present it to the council. Not really sure how other contractors would impact that job.
So
I'd rather listen to the experts than.
Well, the experts are the people that are selling us the equipment.
They're just gonna sell you what you're asking for.
Catherine?
we did put it out for used equipment from, I think it was 2016 up for used equipment. And we did get some proposals from different salespeople that were trying to help us, but we were told by the Public Works foreman that the equipment was just not long enough, and one type of trailer wasn't safe to use. But we did have some used equipment that was proposed.
Oh, and I
Okay.
think it was the second time it was actually bid out and the bid specs were tweaked in between. And
Right.
back, I think we're going on 3 years now of doing this project. But the impetus in doing this was the fact that we were spending, what was it, $16,000 a year renting an excavator and paying to have it moved from site to site each year. So the idea was that if we had our own equipment, it would be much more cost effective and that it would be at our disposal when we needed it. And we didn't have to try to get contractors to come in and move things, that we had it at our disposal when we needed it. So that was
Okay.
the actual push behind doing this, getting the excavator and then getting a trailer to be able to move it.
Well, before I was here, so that's fine.
Yeah, it was.
I was just asking the questions.
So we did get the equipment, but not the trailer.
Any other discussion, counselors? Do you feel comfortable going to a vote on this?
Yep.
It's been bid several times. I'm just not sure if these are the prices, then this is the way it is.
Pete, did you have anything else?
Well, I know they need a trailer, but I definitely do not like the price. I think it's about $10,000 more than it should be.
Well, I know I went to buy plywood a couple weeks ago and it's like $50 a sheet now, so.
Yeah.
Doug about had a heart attack.
I know, everything's expensive now.
Oh, it's because of the way we're having to do business.
Mm,
All the changes because of COVID-19, and it's only going to get worse before it gets better.
So there has been some issues around limited supplies and getting equipment and repair parts and things like that too. So, I mean, and it seems too like in Steve's information, he said that it's here and it's present and it's available versus the other trailers weren't going to be available for 2 to 4 months, which puts us in the middle of the summer when they might want to be using this piece of equipment. And in the meantime, every time this piece of equipment needs to go to a job site or a work site, then we have to call somebody to come move it for us, which is probably a couple $100 both ways. So it's really, the sooner we can get something in place, the better. I agree it's a lot of money, but at the same time, it's money that we're investing in a piece of equipment that will last for a long time. As far as being able to get it undercover, that would be ideal to have everything that we have undercover. I don't know how practical that is and how tight space is down at the Public Works garage and where they have space to store things. So getting it undercover might not be the paramount most important thing right now. But, you know, certainly looking towards the future, we should certainly think about being able to house all of the equipment that we have, if nothing else, just under a pavilion type.
That's what I was wondering about.
Yeah,
Space.
Yeah.
shelter logic makes nice stuff.
Yeah. So, but that's something that we can consider when it comes time to doing budgeting talks, and maybe we, that can go in the minutes to Steve to think about, you know, how can we protect this equipment that we're investing a lot of money in. So, so at this point, unless somebody else has anything else they want to say regarding the actual purchase of the item, I think we should go to a vote. That's good.
Yep.
All right, all those in favor of resolution 21-17 with Whited Truck Center in Bangor, Maine for $31,534 for a new 25-ton capacity trailer, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Not hearing any, that is going to pass. There we go, Catherine. It's off the council agenda. All right, we're going to move on to discussion items. The department reports were submitted. Unless anybody has questions regarding those, we can just let those stand as part of the record.
Self-explanatory.
Yeah.
I'm all good with it.
I'm all good with them there.
Okay. Any other discussion items this evening?
No?
Okay. Counselor reports. I'm gonna go left to right. Tim, you're on the left side of my screen.
All right, thank you. Thank you to Caleb for coming in and taking his time out, and that's a very complicated project. Like I said, I think as far as the thing we just voted on, as long as it's taken good care of and it lasts a long time, that's one thing, because the costs are not going to go down, they're only going to go up. I know people are a lot more fussy with their personal vehicles than they were 8 years ago, because they have to be. Cost of doing business is going to go up. There's no question about it, unless everything I've been taught about arithmetic my whole life is false. Catherine, I had somebody approach me, and it isn't even in my district, and I know that this is probably a long thing, but one of the persons complaining is down by Somerset Avenue. They're using the Jake brakes all the time coming down that hill by where Bob Stackhouse lives in that area. And somebody had asked me if there's any possibility that we could look into maybe in the future having that posted not to use the Jake brakes if the DOT would do that. What I know that's a long and that's not on the top of their schedule, but I said I would bring it up. And that would be something that ought to be peeked at, because I guess a couple of animals have been hit there because people are speeding and, you know, vehicle speeding, that sort of thing.
If it's a town road, we can put it into the ordinance for the Jake break and then erect the signs, but it's a state road, so we would need permission from the state. So I can ask how that would be done.
Okay. And it's that hill that one hill that starts up by, you know, up by Birchwood Terrace and goes down into where Vacrax live, down in that area. And I was going to say, the only other thing I've got is we've had some people pass away in the last week, and one of them was Rick Curtis. I mean, I know his whole family. My father and mother were friends with John and Libby, and I've known Rick since he was first grade. I know his whole family, and my condolences go out to their family. Same thing with Rex Ludden. I know Norma. I've known David Jr., and my thoughts and condolences go out to their family. I just wanted to put that in there. Other than that, I have no other report, Mayor.
Thank you, Tim. Deborah.
Just thankful that we were able to get my computer so I could be on the meeting tonight. I think this is the wave of the future, even though people don't really like it. Until this pandemic is under control, I don't think we have a choice. And other than that, I just want to say thank you to everybody that participated, and I hope you have a good evening.
Okay, thanks, Deb.
Yep.
And Pete.
No report.
Okay, Jason.
I think I'm all set.
Okay. I don't have much. Just I hope everybody's enjoying the winter weather now that it's here. It was nice to see pictures online of kids at the Pinnacle, that the Pinnacle's been able to be open for more than one day. I think last year it was only one day they were able to be open. And they do still have used skis and skates and snowboards for sale over there. So if you have kids that are looking to try something new over school vacation, you know, can go give it a try. My son came up from Report and got a pair of used skis, and he's just as excited as a little kid, and he's 30 because he got new skis. So he's got his own skis now, and he's pretty excited about it. And it's really nice to see people enjoying the ice rink. The committee has done a really great job getting that all prepped and ready to go. And it's nice to see kids out and about doing that. And also, you know, I've seen some people from out of town bringing their kids down and you know, having them come and skate for a little while older siblings need to go over to the high school for games or practices or things like that. They need something to do with them. So they take them down there and have been enjoying that as well. So it's definitely a great community resource. And I want to thank everyone on the committee that had the foresight to put that project together. And a lot of those same people are now in our Parks and Rec committee. So I think that it's in good hands. They have some really good thoughts about those things. Thank you, Catherine, for putting everything together and persevering here with all of the computer challenges and things. It seems like every week we have a different challenge to conquer here. And I think that, you know, every week we get a little bit better at it and learn something new. I now know that I can swipe to the left and I can see everybody now. So I didn't know how to do that. So I hope everybody has a good evening. Catherine, did you have anything else?
No, I'm all set. I tried to be as concise as possible, but a lot is going on. So I'll get the town manager's reports out quicker and quicker. So you'll have them before the meetings in more time than just, 24 hours or so as we go along, once we get the financial work all done for the audit.
Catherine, I just wanted to say thank you for the putting the calendar together. That's very handy. I'm going to take that, put it underneath my phone when I get home, so I know what dates are what. That makes it a lot easier.
Well, I think it's good to have it listed out because we'll have more attendance. We can publish it so that citizens can be more involved. It's a good thing to plan it out for the year. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. If nobody has anything else, then I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn?
Second,
All those in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I don't think there's ever anybody.
I think the assessor opposed, I'm not sure.
He never did connect.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Have a good evening, everyone. Be safe.
Thank you.
Thank
Walk
you.
to your living room or whatever. All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.